I met a man in Brussels. This is, we're going to sing the Men at Work discography for the rest of the show. This is Russell Dobular sitting in for Jimmy Dore. We got my man Keaton on the mic. And we got Mixmaster Kurt over there in the other chair. Jimmy Dore is performing in El Paso, Texas, and he swears he's never going back. So, not after what those redneck backwoods Mounties did to him. So, if you want to see him, you better see him now. All right. We are going to have a little fun here with the Mossad's best named agent, Shai Davidai. He arrived with his Zionist crew at Columbia and immediately attacked a Jew. Zionists are anti-Semites, the tweet says. This is from Suleiman Ahmed. You should follow him. He puts out a lot of good stuff. Okay, so this guy is an untenured associate professor of business at Columbia University. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think he got a look at Shmuley, and somebody said that has to be the most repulsive Zionist freak on the planet. And his response was, "Hold my Manischewitz."
I think he said, "tenure, here I come," is what he said.
Not really. They revoked his key card.
They did?
As we will see. But let's see.
They're anti-Semites? Oh.
So let's see. Well, he was causing too much trouble because he's too fucking crazy.
Oh, like the food truck guy.
Even for them. All right, so let's see this.
You can't allow him to speak to Hamas. I want to have a conversation. You're not a Jew. You're a self-hating dog. A capo who killed people like my father in the concentration camp.
1 second.
My father's family was wiped out because of people like you capo bitch.
All right, so this is inside baseball stuff for those of you who are not Jewish. So he's calling him a self-hating dog. That's self-explanatory. Calling him a capo. What he's saying is, they had Jews inside the camps who would work with the Nazis.
Yeah, George
to run the
Soros
camp.
As a boy.
he's accusing them of being that.
George Soros people, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the lowest. That's basically what for African Americans calling someone an Uncle Tom is. Like for a Jew to say that to another Jew, that's like the lowest insult you could give somebody.
Again, with self-hating Jews in America, I don't think I've ever met another kind of Jew once. I've heard of Israelis not hating themselves. Every other Jew that I've met had a whole Woody Allen. They all did that.
I mean, not us.
I have direct footage of both you and Keaton doing Woody Allen. Excuse me.
Well, man. I mean, a lot of that is the way it's represented in the media. Like, look, I love The Godfather. I'm not saying don't watch The Godfather. The Godfather is very anti-Semitic. Like if you look at both. If you look at how they represent Bugsy Siegel as Mo Green,
that's Bugsy?
That's supposed to be Bugsy Siegel. Now Bugsy Siegel was a guy who was so fucking tough. They called him Bugsy because he could just bug out and kill you. Yeah. How's he represented in The Godfather? Michael, he was banging cocktail waitresses. What am I supposed to do? Right?
Well,
so they effeminize him in the movie, and in real life, I didn't even realize this until I looked into, because I used to do mob tours in New York. And when I started to look into the history of these people, I was like, oh, and then, Hyman Roth, in a film series about betrayal, about people stabbing each other in the back. Yeah. What does Frankie Five Angels say about him? Your father respected Hyman Roth. He did business with Hyman Roth, but he never trusted Hyman Roth. What is it about Hyman Roth that makes him so uniquely untrustworthy in a film series where everybody's whacking everybody and stabbing everybody?
You saw what he did to the main character, and I don't mean our savior. I mean Michael Corleone.
Well, and again, that's a total distortion.
Yeah, in real life, they love
Meyer Lansky.
The mob loves him to this day.
Loved him. Yeah. He was arguably Lucky Luciano's best friend.
Nicky Scarfo loved him in Philly.
So why is he represented that way? So what you're saying, that's partly a media cliche. If you've heard of Murder Incorporated,
Yeah, of course.
Those were all Jewish hitmen that the Italians used to whack their enemies.
Okay, who ultimately approved of these portrayals in the movie? If we're gonna, at the end of the day, who was in charge of putting that out there?
I mean, that's,
to cover up for competent gangsters. They don't want that out there. See, the Italian mob is dumb.
Well, actually, you're right. And since we've editors, it's up to you if you want to take this out. But since we got into this digression, all right. So you know why James Cagney was the first real movie gangster? Was an Irish guy. Okay, so the Irish really started organized crime in New York because they got there first.
Yeah.
But then the Italians and the Jews became part of that system. By the time they started making gangster movies, the Irish were not really a major factor.
No.
They had kind of assimilated out of it. Well, the Irish went into legal crime.
Right.
They went into politics.
Right. They moved up.
Exactly. The Italian, and they still worked with the gangsters, but from the house on the hill.
So did the Jewish mob.
The Italian later on.
Yeah.
The Italians and the Jews wound up moving into the gangsterism. So by the time they made gangster movies,
right,
Jews owned the studios. They were not going to let Jews be portrayed as gangsters out of fear of stimulating anti-Semitism. And the Italians controlled all the unions.
Right.
So they weren't going to make movies about Italian gangsters.
Yeah.
So the only people who didn't have the muscle to say anything about it were the Irish. That's why James Cagney was the first movie
later
gangster.
the blacks took their place, as we know from gangster rap.
So little digression. Getting back to this.
You can't talk to me because this is my city. We're going to take our city back, and we're not going to let any of you Hamas anyone touch it.
I want to make something clear. You tell me not to. Sir, please, wait. No. Please,
say it.
Hey, sir, I don't want to raise my voice at a Jew, but please give me 1 second, and then you talk. 1 second. I introduced myself as Shai Davidai. Look at me because I'm talking with you. I introduced myself as Shai Davidai. You introduced yourself as a Jew. You introduced yourself as a spokesperson for Jewish people. Because listen to me. Because you said me and many other Jews. So you have to look at the statistic. 95% of Jewish people are Zionists. So if you don't want to be part of the Jewish tribe, you have the right to do so. But you are not the spokesperson of the Jewish people. All of them here are the Jewish people. You should be ashamed of yourself for insinuating otherwise. If you want to stand against terrorism, you're welcome to stand. If not, you're welcome to stand there and
So who's shaming who right now?
So it's not 95%. Based on a recent Atlantic article mourning for the golden age of American Jewry, they said 80%, and that sounds right to me. I'm not going to tell you it's half and half. Yeah, 80% of Jews. If you define Zionism as believing in the right of Israel to exist as a Jewish state, meaning not as one state where everyone has equal rights,
I didn't know what that
but
meant.
as the apartheid state it is today, then yes, 80% of Jews are Zionists.
I had no idea that that's what that meant. I thought, and now I know why you always would hear about our Judeo-Christian values here, where you're like, or the gay marriage. You can't have, like, Ben Shapiro's against that. Like, Dave Rubin couldn't go to his, he wouldn't go to his
wedding.
Because that might influence Israel, who gets to be in 1984 forever. So they don't even have fucking civil marriage there. I found that out from my ex. They don't have a constitution.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, they were protesting it before October 7th when they wanted to overthrow Bibi. Because a lot of this bullshit about support Israel is really heavy on support the Likud party somehow. That really in America, because I guess these people that are donors go with that side of it.
Right.
So it gets all mashed together like you're supposed to. If you don't support Bibi, you hate Israel. I mean, so Shai Davidai is the one that's a Zionist and the other guy is not. Is that what this is?
Yes, he's confronting a Jew who is protesting for Palestine. So that's what they always say to you. I get that sometimes from them. Yeah. I get the self-hating Jew. My experience with the Zionists, I'm not dealing with people like this, but Zionists who come at me, most Zionists know nothing about this.
I know.
They're just brainwashed from childhood. They don't know shit about it. You start hitting them with facts. In my, at least when I've debated them, they go away.
Yeah. Because
they literally don't know anything about the subject.
Dude, my ex-girlfriend, who was heavy Zion, but very secular, and she hated the Borough Park, where she lived by Fort Surrender in Borough Park. And those Jews there, because she had blonde hair that was out, they didn't, and would be walking the dogs. They'd be flattened against the wall. because there's a woman with hair and a dog exposed. She hated them. She hated those Jews. Loves Israel. Knew nothing about any of those Bible stories. Her parents were Hebrew scholars at a college. Hadn't taught her any of the religion at all. They taught her, marry a Jew. Well, they didn't say in these words, but your pussy's a portal that makes soldiers for Israel. That's what she was programmed as. That was supposed to be the 9th season of Stargate. And then Zack Snyder released it as that new Rebel Moon movie with the space vagina.
Okay, so credit to the Jewish people, Charlie Kirk here. Jewish Columbia University professor Shai Davidai had his card deactivated and he was unable to enter campus. Columbia University has officially sided with the pro-Hamas occupiers.
You know what, Charlie? Fuck your face. I know you hear it a lot. Your face sucks. It's too small for your head. But I mean it severely.
All right, so let's see this.
I have not just a civil right as a Jewish person to be on campus. I have a right as a professor employed by the university to be on campus. They deactivated my card. These are 5 lawsuits happening, but we don't want to sue. We just want to be Jewish in public.
Thank you. I just want to thank him for tearing down stereotypes.
This is at least 5 lawsuits.
It's 5 lawsuits. I've got the cousin.
My cousin Maury will be in touch. But notice
now he's getting a sense of checkpoints are quite the bitch, aren't they? Right? Kind of sucks when you're trying to get somewhere and you have to go through a checkpoint and the people at the checkpoint bust your balls and don't let you through.
It's like apartheid.
Who would want to live like that? Right.
I'm paid on the side by EdPAC. See, they didn't say Michael Rappaport for this one.
That's no way to live your life.
This is the new West Bank World section of the Columbia campus.
Yeah, that's point number 1. Point number 2, forgive the callback to a previous segment, but keep in mind this is an assistant professor at the university. So for those of you who are on the fence about whether teachers and faculty should be armed with weapons, pay special attention to this fact.
I'm waiting to pull out an asthma thing while he's in the middle of talking about the
I am a professor at the university.
All right, they're denying you entry. That's not us.
Are you denying me entry?
Yeah, I love this cop. He's so new.
Wait. Everybody, can I get this?
What I can't have, we can't have this blocking up here. Do the right thing and get this crowd back.
Everybody, we are
that
cooperating
is
with
a
the
fucking
MIPD.
New York cop. We can't have this blocking this up here. You gotta round it up. You gotta move it down the street.
Hey, take it down.
Tell your story walking, buddy.
Let's step back. If Mr. Holloway, the COO, is willing to make a comment to the media, I would love that. Everybody move back.
Please, ladies.
We gotta move back. Yeah, no, that's the New York thing to do is look, you can't stand in the same place for too long if there are too many of you, right? Wherever that's happening, they have to break it up. We need a walkway here. There's a sidewalk.
Exactly. You can't block the sidewalk. That's a big thing.
Don't block the sidewalk. Yeah.
That's like half the cop's job is keeping sidewalks clear.
Yeah, McDougal on a weekend outside the cellar. That was Armageddon every weekend because of drunks. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Now, this sounds probably brutal to listen, but the cops there, they're not there anymore doing that, so it's crazy over there now. But the cops there, when these drunks would be a problem, a cop would grab them by the neck and smack them on the wall a couple times and tell them to get out of here, which is the kind thing. So they're not going to the tombs. There's no paperwork, and the drunks don't feel it, and they go, that's New York is like, I miss that town. Yeah, dealing with drunks is really comedian, waitress, cop. Your job is dealing with drunks.
I mean, really? That's why I never tended bar. I don't like drunks. I don't like dealing with drunks.
Oh, it's brutal.
I don't like the false intimacy. I don't like the way they get in your face. I don't like the way they think you're the best friend. I don't like any of that shit.
The false intimacy of cocaine is less egregious than the drunk.
I hate that shit. All right, so this is from Counterpunch. Columbia professor Shai Davidai's family tied to weapons manufacturing. I'm fucking,
get the fuck out of here.
I'm fucking shocked. I'm shocked. After throwing a foot-stamping tantrum earlier this morning, Shai Davidai, an untenured Columbia University business professor, was denied access to campus. A self-proclaimed Zionist, Davidai is an Israeli American who served in the IDF, quote, proud of it, and has continually harassed Colombia's pro-Palestine activists, labeling them anti-Semitic pro-Hamas terrorists.
I'm sure he was formidable in combat.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like he's from the muscle end of the family.
He works for them doing this. That's what his job is for the IDF.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, he might have. On several occasions, Hasbara is a big thing for them. On several occasions, Davidai called for the National Guard to be brought in to brutalize pro-Palestine students. He's even gone so far as to characterize Columbia protesters as Hitler Youth. Columbia Students for Justice in Palestine have started a petition to have him fired. There's a quote from him. You know, let's take off the gloves. Terrorism is an ideology.
No, it isn't.
They are openly supporting terror.
No, they're not.
They are terrorists. These are not kids. These are adults.
Well, legally.
Legally.
In their heads, they're kids. You would have this problem.
There is a laundry list of complaints lodged against Davidai, most recently by 15 Jewish students at Columbia who were arrested and suspended last week during their occupation protest demanding the school divest from Israel. In a Jewish Voice for Peace Instagram post, the students called out Davidai directly, writing, "Furthermore, the disgraceful Shai Davidai publicly called us Judenrat Kapost." Okay, so that's a more elaborate form. So the Nazis early on set up Jewish councils in the Jewish ghettos to basically run things. That's what he's calling.
like the PLO or Hamas? Did they set up a Hamas to run the concentration camp? Would you say?
No, they did not. No, they did not. And told us we would be on the last train to Auschwitz. We do not feel safe with this professor still teaching on campus, having access to the Jewish community spaces we cherish, much less portraying himself as a valiant protector and spokesperson of Jews on campus while insulting our ancestors' memory. Almost every suspended Jewish student lost family members in the Holocaust. I mean, if you're an Ashkenazi Jew, the odds are almost zero that you do not have relatives who died in the Holocaust.
Well, not just that. You know, Jehovah's Witnesses were in the Holocaust. In fact, when people go like they think it didn't happen, like you don't have to take a Jew's word for it. There were other people there that saw the whole thing. they were literal witnesses.
Well, sure. I mean, Russians. They performed experiments on Russians.
Yeah, right. So
gypsies.
So this is like all to fool people that don't know. Because I didn't realize till I moved out of where I grew up that people didn't know Jews in a lot of places. Because they would first of all think I'm Jewish because they can't distinguish vaguely ethnic features.
Right, yeah. That's true.
What are you, some kind of Jew? But people, so they're playing on that ignorance because what was the base to support this genocide stuff? Christian Zionists, the rednecks that they started calling as bad as terrorists a few years ago, that was their base to protect. Right, that was the one that kept this going for them. They fucked them over. So now what do they got? They got to fight with other Jews.
Davidai comes from a long line of assholes. I love this writer. We should give him a job, Keaton.
Yeah.
His father, Eli Davidai, is an Israeli business executive who served as general manager of ARC, which describes itself as a leading global advanced manufacturing service provider. In 2016, ARC won an award for an AR-15 component, and in 2010, scored a prize for an explosive device made for a Department of Defense application. ARC also makes parts for MCX and MPX rifles, which are used by the Israeli military. As you probably guessed by his crybaby antics, Shai's parents are disgustingly rich. Eli and his wife Zohara Davidai sponsored the Davidai Arrhythmia Center in Tel HaShomer, Israel, where Benjamin Netanyahu was fitted for a pacemaker last year.
I mean, how many evil things are they going to be a part of, this family? Helping Netanyahu? Did they make Dick Cheney's Darth Vader helmet?
Well, that's at the end, actually. Interestingly, as Cholent Lover exposed on X, Eli Davidai has had a long business relationship with Alan Quasha, CEO of Quadrant Management, who also serves on the board of directors of ARC. Quasha is an interesting character, an international businessman and a billionaire venture capitalist. Quasha has been involved in everything from Harken Energy, where George W. Bush was accused of insider trading as he sat on Harken's board, to dealings with the Saudis, U.S. intelligence, and even the Clintons.
Oh, my God.
Quasha is also, it's a big club and you ain't in it, baby. Quasha is also the founder of Quadrant Security Strategies, which makes equity investment in innovative and emerging private companies that support U.S. national security. To top it off, Shai Davidai's grandfather, Benny Davidai, a founder of El Al Airlines, was a notorious strikebreaker. The apple doesn't fall far, as they say. Meanwhile, as Davidai claims it's unsafe for him on campus, Columbia faculty, including Jewish faculty members, walked out this afternoon in a massive show of solidarity with student protesters. Okay, so this video has been making the rounds. I just wanted to address, before we go away from this, what bullshit the claims, not only that Davidai, but that all of these Zionist scumbags are making, that people who are protesting because they're horrified, rightly, by the disgusting genocide being committed by the racist apartheid state of Israel, claiming that they're unsafe, that they're the victims, that they're the ones being attacked. One of these clueless bubbleheads decided to go out and bravely face down these violent protesters. So this is from another professional schmuck.
Ollie London, the trans-Korean?
Ollie London.
He detransitioned from being Korean.
Another fucking schmuck. He's another one of the anti-woke people who flipped on a dime about censorship as soon as it came to Israel. I'd like to know who's paying this motherfucker. Jewish woman bravely stands outside Yale University protest wearing a t-shirt with the word Jew as masked pro-Palestine activists stage a sit-down protest. Quote, "I shall not feel shame. I am proud." Now, her husband put this up originally, saying what a brave woman his wife is.
And it's not saying it's his wife.
And okay, this is how fucking, after you see the video, you're going to understand. So if you've ever taken Ollie London stupid, Ollie London seriously, I want you to realize how fucking stupid this guy is, because once you see this video, think about the fact that he thought that this video played as a brave Jewish woman standing up to a crowd and not a completely demented moron standing up to fellow Jews in some cases who didn't give a flying fuck that she was Jewish.
Well, this is a guy who got surgery to make his eyes look Asian, so he's not the brightest person.
Yes, no, he is not. But he is bright enough to have a following that I'm sure he's making some good money from on X. Okay, so let's take a look at this genius. Keep in mind, Jews for a free Palestine. There are Jews there.
He did not.
Right. The whole premise of the action is that she's a brave Jew for going behind enemy lines where Jews aren't welcome, and they're going to attack her once she gets in their face with a big shirt that says Jew on it. Meanwhile, in the frame, literally in the frame, there's people holding a sign.
Literally
Jews for a free Palestine.
Wait, I'm wearing the Jew shirt today.
Yeah.
Look at my face. I'm not afraid. Put my face on camera. Show my face.
Look at the guy dancing.
That's great. The guy dancing is what makes it.
Dogs me. Dogs me. Dogs me. I will not be ashamed.
Okay.
Is this even a protest.
Okay, these people's heads are so far up their asses that not only did they do this, but they thought they looked good here and shared it on X.
Yeah, they didn't think, oh man, they didn't attack us. This is kind of embarrassing. Maybe we should delete this from our phone or just share it among friends. No, they're like, nailed it. Can't wait to blast that out on social media. Yeah.
Dude, the people are programmed not to even look at it. It's just like the thing with the 40 beheaded babies. People still bring up the debunked bullshit from that you should have listened to and be like, that sounds a little crazy when you first heard it. They don't bother to even look at the article supporting the thing they think.
Right.
So Ollie London didn't watch this. Nobody else. This is a programming of.
I think Ollie London is a fucking moron. I think he watched. I think he watched it and didn't understand it.
I bet you didn't. I bet you just posted it.
This was the best meme I saw on this. Over here. Oh, see, nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares. Like now, if you go to the Do Dissidents Twitter feed, my esteemed colleague here made a pretty funny little Curb Your Enthusiasm sound drop with that footage, if you want to check it out.
Why should you go and look at my face with the shirt that says Jew? I'm looking at the shirt. I thought that's what you wanted.
Well, she's saying, film me, dox me, film my face. Right? Oh, look. I will show myself here. They just live in a world of paranoid delusion that they've been brainwashed into since childhood. They've just been brainwashed since childhood to believe that the whole world is full of hidden anti-Semites. Are there anti-Semites? Sure. But most
they
people
live in a world, yes, they create in their mind a world in which everyone is out to get them. And because they live in that world in their mind, what do? They behave in ways that turn people against them.
It sounds like
a self-fulfilling thing.
And everything else.
Right? When you are convinced people are out to get you, you're going to behave in a way that turns people against you because you're not going to act like you want to be a part of the world. You're going to act like you are, in this case, in Israel's case, you are above the rest of the world. You have special privileges that no other country has. They have an iron dome, for Christ's sake. Right? And so you're going to act in a way that turns people on you. And that's exactly what it is. And, you know, the fact that she went there expecting hostility. I mean, she went there to provoke a reaction, to prove a point that these protests are dangerous and violent and threatening spaces for Jews. She proved the exact opposite and posted it anyway. And now, apparently, that original tweet's been taken down.
It has been taken.
Someone finally watched it.
They finally. Well, no, I think finally they saw everyone mocking it. They finally realized it finally got through to them. But in some respects, if you look at how the Jewish people in America have ended up, in a lot of ways, they were the original identitarians. Right. They were the original group that was obsessed with their own identity and absolutely phobic and paranoid about everyone hating them and everyone having hidden agendas around them and secretly whispering about them. Okay, so this is where that ends. This is how a group that lives in the world in that way ends up. Screaming at people who don't give a shit, expecting a confrontation that is not going to come. And again, that's not to say that there is not racism, there's not anti-Semitism, but a morbid obsession with your identity, a morbid obsession with the worst assholes in the world who exist. But is that really most people? Is that really the majority of most people? That's a path also, right to being this deranged woman.
Shouldn't you be more mad at your prime minister that paid those people that are the worst in the... This is the thing that I can't get past.
They will never address that.
Well, people bring it up. So Dave Smith said it to Prager and Batya, and she knows that it's true, okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm watching, and I'm like, why are we even having a further discussion so we know who the criminal is here? I mean, I know what we would do if we found out someone here was secretly funding ISIS or Hamas. We'd take their bank account away. We'd destroy them, wouldn't we? With our Patriot Act robust laws. But no, I'm mad at these people. Their kids are Hamas too.
Right.
When they go, I hate Hamas, they want you to feel like every Palestinian is Hamas. It's
Right.
such a clear fucking thing.
And every protester is Hamas, and everyone who
Even the
criticizes
Jews.
Israel is Hamas, and this is a desperate
Every
struggle.
judge that won't throw out your parking ticket, Hamas, right?
That's how you know Israel's losing, because
It is a desperate struggle to maintain the fiction that they've maintained for 75 years, because they know if this fiction, that being against the idea of a racist apartheid state, is equated with Nazism and anti-Semitism, they've maintained that fiction for 75 fucking years. As soon as it goes away, so does Israel. The
Yeah.
basic premise of Israel cannot survive daylight. It cannot survive disinfectant.
Well,
And they're desperately trying to tamp it down.
secular people taking on, as if it's racial, a religion. And I remember it's not a race, it's a religion. I remember people saying that to not be like anti-Semitic at people for acting like, but I didn't realize that they were saying this weird hybrid of race and religion. And I still remember when I was dating my girl, like, are you going to convert? And I'm like, no, I already got out of a religion. I'm not going to. It's like the guy who lost his arm, he cut it off in the rock.
Mhm.
Like, I'm going to put my other arm in a rock.
Yeah.
But what I didn't understand was they were racist, but somehow it was a religion. And that's why Islamophobia, the insanity of that term, because anti-Semitic is what Arabs are Semites.
Right.
They even made Semite an apartheid state, so Arabs can't use it. So they tried to make their own called Islamophobia. And then Islam's a religion, it's not a race. Yeah, but it's racist. And that's, I realized they're trying to have their own version of anti-Semitism.
If you talk about the Semites that migrated into that region, the Palestinians are much more likely to be descended from those people
They took it from
than
them.
these European Ashkenazi Jews who are essentially an Asiatic people. That's why we're all lactose intolerant. That's why they won't let you take a DNA test in Israel.
Oh, you told me that.
I mentioned that with Jimmy, and I realized I'd only seen it in tweets, so I went and researched it. Yeah, no, that's true.
Isn't that weird?
It is illegal. You have to get a court order to get a DNA test in Israel, and you can only get it for very specific kind of medical reasons or to establish paternity.
Or if you
that
think
kind
an
of-
Arab
that
lied
ki-
to you to fuck you, because that happens there sometimes.
Well, that you
They
can't.
lied to the Jews.
No, they do not want you delving into ancestry. If there's nothing to be afraid of, why don't you want people looking up their
When
ancestry?
I told
If you're
people
really
that, yeah.
descended from this land, why don't you want people
People are
to be
shocked
able
when
to
they find out.
establish that?
Their minds are blown when they find that out. Because a couple people, because I couldn't believe it. I'm like, seriously, they actually get away. So they don't have civil marriage. LGBTQ for Hamas, that's crazy. Yeah, they don't do too well in Israel neither. They ain't legal there. In fact, you can even be a non-Jew and get married.
See, I thought they had civil unions. I didn't know that.
No, that's part of the reason a cuckoo Zionist Orthodox has to approve it, and that's to maintain that system. And my girl at the time told me, yeah, they let the religious people have too much power. So the ones that aren't
Michael
religious,
Rappaport did that whole video.
what?
You want to run around with a glow stick? You want to fuck a goat in the ass? You got to go to Israel, my friend.
Yeah,
That
you
wasn't
just-
true?
They have a section where you can do your dirty thing that won't be publicly acknowledged as okay. Like the closet, you can do that. They have a district of, and my girl's uncle, who was gay, her mom would never acknowledge, he goes, he has troubles with women. That's all. That's because she's Iraqi Jew and they can't acknowledge. It's like Irish people acknowledging
He
gay
is
in
like
Ireland.
you've heard of Liberace.
He
is like this one.
He is a dancing man. Like he is a flamboyant. There's that Irish guy that does a sketch, Sir Steve-O something, and he goes, "There's no gays in Ireland, Kathleen. He's a dancing man."
All right, Misha, to you.
All right. Hey, get this. So we all know that the mainstream news media is not reliable. How can you trust them when they've never told you the truth about Russiagate, Ukraine, COVID, lockdowns, anything? That's where our sponsor, we have a new sponsor, Ground News, comes in handy. Ground News is an app and a website. And what they do is they gather related articles from around the world in one place so you can compare coverage. So it's not, they don't generate the news, they compile the news, and then they give you the visual breakdown of the news outlets and tell you if the source has a political bias, and if it does, what's the political bias, and how reliable that the reporting is, and who owns them. So it's super helpful and transparent. Check this out. So like if you search Russia-Ukraine, search Russia-Ukraine war, and you'll see how it's covered. Here we see 111 total news sources. 18 of them are left-leaning. 9 are right-leaning, and 27 of them are centrist. The bias distribution is 50% center, and it even shows their logos along with their factuality and ownership. So this is a pretty helpful, dare I say, use an old-timey term, this is a neat website. So this is a good way to do your own research. So you get there, you see they help you by seeing what the bias is, by who owns these news outlets, but they compiles all different kinds of sources around one news story. So it gets you access to independent and international perspectives, not just nationalist sources with the same political agenda. It helps you find the discrepancies in how certain topics are covered and shows you how corporate agendas can influence the news you read. Sounds a lot like this show. Sounds like this website does what this show does. Sounds nice. So if you want to see it for yourself, go to ground.news/JD. Ground.news/JD. Use the link below, and we're going to get you 40% off unlimited access. Go to ground.news/JD, and we're going to get you 40% off unlimited access. Think critically about the news you consume.
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit